provided at least 48 hours prior to the commencement of this meeting pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice of all meetings in 2025 was provided to the township clerk, posted on the township website, and provided to newspapers on December 26, 2024. An updated notice of this location change was provided in the item on April 1st, 2025. Why don't we all stand to salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The purpose of the Millburn Special Improvement District is to promote, grow, and support local businesses, property owners, residents, and visitors, and to encourage the economic, cultural, and social vitality of the township through increased marketing and visibility, improved and renewed infrastructure, and local business development and engagement. Mr. Grillo, would you please take a roll call?
Yes, Madam Chair. Alexa Clark. Tim Hoffman. Here. Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg.
Here.
Ben Stoller. Present. Ashley Schultz.
Here.
We heard you. Thank you, Ashley. Richard Wasserman. Stephen Weiner.
Here.
Alex Zoltzman. Here. You have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. May I have approval of the May 22nd, 2025 minutes, attachment 1 in your packet? Motion. May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a roll call vote?
Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg.
Yes.
Ben Stoller.
Yes.
Ashley Schultz.
I was not there.
Would you like to count that as a no vote or an abstention? I'm asking.
You're
Mr.
asking
Slattery.
me?
Yes.
Sounds like an abstention, but he can tell us if he thinks otherwise.
Yes. Okay. Ashley, would you like to abstain?
Yes.
Okay. Stephen Weiner.
Affirmative.
Thank you.
Okay, why don't we proceed with the item of business. The paper mill is applying for a grant for the New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism to create a social media video campaign aimed at attracting younger visitors, especially those traveling via New Jersey Transit. This is a campaign that's really geared to spend more time in Millburn. Will feature the paper mill, and the broader goal is to get people to our downtown for dining, shopping, and all kinds of cultural events. It's a targeted outreach to bring visibility. We're gonna have Mr. Andrus explain it a little more in greater detail, but the net is the paper mill is applying for a $15,000 grant. It requires a 25% match for our PMP partners, Paper Mill Playhouse partners, which is $37.50. The chamber, to the best of my knowledge, has already committed $18.75 towards that $37.50, excuse me, my math. So should we decide, our commitment, Explore's commitment would be $1,875, which would go towards the 2026 budget. So why don't we have Cody, thank you for joining us, and Ms. O'Keefe, right? Nice to meet you as well, Cody, I know. So why don't you go to the lectern and give us a few Reader's Digest highlights about this grant.
Sure. Katie, do you want to come talk about the grant itself, and I'll talk about the campaign?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, folks. Thanks for having us tonight. So the grant that we've applied for is through the New Jersey Department of Tourism's. My mic okay?
Why don't we have?
Yeah.
Hey,
You can.
hey, Ashley, can you hear them speaking?
I can hear them.
Okay, great.
Perfect. So this grant is through the New Jersey Department of Travel and Tourism, and it's their cooperative marketing grant program. And the purpose of the program is to really promote tourism within the state of New Jersey. And the goal with this program is for organizations to form partnerships, hence the cooperative portion of it, to that end. So for our proposal, we have been looking to really position Millburn-Short Hills as a destination where Paper Mill Playhouse is part of it. As you know, it's the destination for part of your evening or part of your day out. And so I can turn it over to Bill to speak to some of the markets.
Yeah. So the campaign itself would be done by our digital agency, Situation Interactive, which is a Broadway, New York-based advertising agency. The campaign would consist of a video series that they create with our input that would showcase the travel from New York City to Millburn via New Jersey Transit. We haven't done one of these videos in a very long time, and we want to refresh it. We want to show how the travel from New York City to Millburn is easy on the Midtown Direct Line, where you come out in the train station. I imagine that the camera would then track along the downtown to some of the businesses, maybe pop in, pop out, in a lot of the ways that Explore Millburn-Short Hills has been doing with the Business Improvement District, and then travel up the beautiful Brookside to Paper Mill. Then what happens with those videos is they get cut up in different ways, they get used across social media, and the other half of the spend of the grant would then be to have the paid advertisement of it. That would then have paid targeted advertisement to specific demographics, younger people, anywhere from New York City along the Midtown Direct Line into Millburn-Short Hills from other New Jersey destinations, but really bringing people from New York into New Jersey, which is where the New Jersey Tourism Board comes in. That's the broad strokes. There's a lot of granular things that I'm happy to explain, but that's the gist. Great.
Questions from our board? Yes, go ahead, Alex.
The digital campaign is the paid portion of it. Is that like, where are they running that? In New York, or are they running it like?
So running it online, and it is targeted based on zip code of the person. So for the most part, it will be people who reside in New York, but we'll also look along Jersey City, Hoboken, my neck of the woods, East Orange, anywhere along that Midtown Direct Line, bring people into Millburn.
Got
it. Yeah.
I've got a, on the paid advertising
Mhm.
portion, would that include the Explorer logo somewhere? Or?
Yeah, the videos themselves would have both the Paper Mill logo, the Explorer logo, some sort of recognition of Millburn-Short Hills.
All right, the answer is yes, I could be available for a shoot.
Great, because we're really tired of using Steve.
As
No,
a-
I was out, no, I was sweating my butt off yesterday making videos, and you were not, nowhere to be
As I go
found.
into Manhattan every day, I think it's a great idea,
Yeah.
because, you know, it really is a gem and also too, from a pricing mechanism to drive people here. You know, it's why I take my son once a year to Cleveland to watch the Yankees play.
Yep.
And I could do that a hell of a lot cheaper to fly and stay than to actually, go to Yankee Stadium right now without the headache of parking.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great idea and just a great improvement, for the paper mill. Thank you.
What else should we know?
You should probably know that because we're seeking the grant, this is something we'd never be able to do on our own, so it's something extra, it's something that we wanted to do, but we've had not the time, the resources, or the finances to do it. So this cooperation, working with the township and Explore Millburn-Short Hills, helps us to do this thing that we would never be able to do.
And also too, you'll be able to get proof in the numbers. Once you get that data back, you have the analytics you can run against and say, hey, this was such a positive ROI and brought people, not just to our town, not just to the paper mill, but to all the businesses in town. Gotta get your nails done,
Yep.
this.
Correct. Yeah.
Is there an anticipated timeline?
After the completion and the awarding of the grant, it's not very long. We usually do I would say maybe a 2-week campaign, not the campaign itself, but the filming itself, for us to film it, edit it, package it. The campaign itself is thought to be over the summer so that we could tell people about it before the paper mill season starts in October. But that's based on the grant award monies and how much we're allocating towards the paid advertising spend.
And so just to be clear, when I spoke with Katie, this would be from our 2026 budget, so we would provide you with the money next year, which I assume is okay.
That should be okay.
Okay.
I'll talk with our program officer at
Sure.
the New Jersey Tourism, I think they'll be okay with that as long as, you know, we have all our documentation ducks in a row.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, as long as, and what do you need from me specifically? I've already sent you a letter saying that our executive committee has approved this, it was going to go to our full board. Do you need another letter that just says it was approved by the board?
Yes, just something confirming that it was approved by the
Okay,
full board.
I'll take care of that.
Perfect.
Okay, so I have a question. If we're funding for 2026 and the program is actually starting in October of 2025, Steve, does that mean we will get some additional marketing for your season of 2026? How does that work?
I think that's the
That's
question.
a question
folks,
for-
is
yeah.
How long will this be running and
Yeah.
are they intending to reinvigorate it after the first run?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thought that we have is this is an evergreen video that is a base for us to reinvigorate with new paper mill seasons, should new businesses open up. It's giving us a base of footage to start with, and then we can use this from here on out.
And your October 2025, what's, just run us through the, I know I got the flyer,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
can't,
yeah.
I remember 1776,
Yeah,
but there's.
season starts October 2nd with Bull Durham, which is a new musical based on the film of the same name. That is running for 1 month from October 2nd to November 2nd. Frozen is for 5 weeks from November until first week of January. Come From Away will be here in March. And then 1776, coinciding with the, let me get it right, semi-quincentennial will be in April, and then the season ends with West Side Story. So this could be used throughout the season. Once the paid advertisement from the grant is used, then I will use Paper Mill's marketing expense to refresh it, to run it more throughout the year.
And you'll be having specific campaigns to tailor those diverse audiences for the, obviously, you know, the Frozen audience is gonna be a little different than Come From Away.
Correct.
So the marketing for this grant will be customized, if you will, a little bit for each of your performances, so if
Correct.
I'm understanding that correctly.
Correct, yeah. The audiences that we think will come in for the shows will be targeted in the specific campaign to bring them for those shows and to Millburn.
Great. So are we gonna have, I mean, I'm just thinking out.
I just have one more comment.
Yeah.
You know, Katie, thank you so much for coming. You know, I also sit on the township committee. And I'm the representative for Explore Millburn. So we have just a great partnership with the paper mill. We're investing alongside them as well for the upgrades. And to really make that the cornerstone of theater in our state. So anything you can do to help push that business, we really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It's just a gemstone. It really is very meaningful to Millburn-Short Hill. So want to just plant that seed when you're out there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Are there other partners besides us in the township? Is the chamber involved in this?
Yes, so it is you all and the Chamber of Commerce as the partners.
All right.
Okay.
And also too, just one other thing jumped to my mind is the level of restaurants and the quality of restaurants, really, really appreciate it because we look at it as a symbiotic system here in Millburn, New Jersey, so everything works, especially with Explore.
Yeah.
So if there's anything else, you know, you ever need or want to do, let us know.
Yeah. Not to show favorites, but I did just have dinner at the Standard 20 minutes ago. Yep, it was great.
Great, okay, Steve, I think there may be some questions from the audience, yes? That I'd like to take with respect before we have a roll call vote?
You are the chair, it
Yeah.
is your meeting.
Yep,
Want me to-
yes, please.
Vicky Powell. This is on, Vicky Powell, business owner. I just had a quick question.
how do we, when they do this video, how do they decide what businesses you're going into?
Yep.
And if the chamber's involved, what is the messaging in the chamber part of this video? Because the chamber is open to everyone and can go Maplewood, South Orange, and all that stuff, so I don't want to, I'm just thinking of a competitive nature,
Yeah,
thinking about it as a business owner.
yeah. So my thought was, this is the base video and we would zoom through and past some businesses.
Switch spots.
Yep.
So that they can.
Okay.
On the Zoom. So my thought was it's a base video going through the downtown, but in the way that when we have a cast at Paper Mill, we give them, you know, a set of assets to use and put out on their own stuff. I would take this base video and give it to one restaurant, your business, one of the nail salons, and be like, if you wanna post it on yours and you want our help, we're happy to do that. I would love to build a database or talk to the chamber and explore about building a database of businesses to go to, or if they wanna come to me and participate. It would be really, you know, if you wanna participate, you're more than welcome to, and we'll help you do that. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
of course.
Yes, go ahead, Alex.
But what's the premise of the New York thing? I'm just trying to understand, like.
Sure, for Paper Mill, what we find is that we have a good grasp on the Essex County General and the Millburn-Short Hills. But what I found, because for those who don't know me, I came in from New York, I was at Lincoln Center Theater for about 10 years, but now I'm a East Orange resident and I'm at Paper Mill as the marketing director. I'm trying really to bring that New York audience out to Millburn for the day. Bring them, the theater audience to come.
Like a day trip, kind of
Correct.
get out of the city, kind of a.
Correct, yes, every friend that I've brought to Paper Mill who lives in the city is like, I was not aware of the downtown that's here, the restaurants, the businesses, and I was like, I've been trying to tell you.
Like Taylor Park.
So, like Taylor Park,
Like
exactly.
when I was in the city, like,
Yep.
I couldn't wait, I mean, I could last like 2-3 weeks, then I get the hell out.
Yeah.
And then I go back.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way it is.
Or if you're here in the good weather, going into the reservation,
Yeah,
Take a
exactly,
hike,
there's so many things
taking a
there.
picnic, coming back in,
I
yeah.
get it.
Mhm.
So was there just that article in Time Out
Yes.
about the things to do?
Yeah, Time Out New York had an article about Millburn, about what things to do, and then we took it and we promoted it. That's what I've been working on, I've been here a year and a half, so more of that.
Yeah.
Could you
Yeah.
circulate that, Steve?
Of course.
Or get a coding and circle?
Yeah, I've actually already put it out, so I have a record of it somewhere.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow, that's pretty cool.
When was that publication?
That was beginning of Little Mermaid, I wanna say, so let's call it early May.
No, I think it's just like the reverse, me like I say, going to Cleveland to watch the Yankees.
Yeah.
All in, cheaper than doing it, but when you're in the city, like, for me, going into the city, going on a weekend for a night trip or something, it's fun, but if I live in the city, how the hell do you get out for a night trip?
Exactly.
Where to go, like, it's.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then younger people too are looking to purchase a home, you'd also tie it to home
Absolutely.
ownership,
Mhm.
et cetera.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Give them some flavor. I'll tell you what, hit up a couple of these real estate guys and, you know, hey, you wanna be a keynote sponsor, write a check.
Okay, is there any other questions from the board or anybody in the audience before we proceed with a vote? Okay, well, I want to thank you very much for your eloquent remarks, and we'll proceed now at this juncture.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a roll call vote for whether or not you are whether you support, explore participating with the Paper Mill as a 12.5%, if you will, partner with New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism to create a social media video campaign aimed at attracting younger visitors. May I have a motion to approve that financial contribution of $1,875 for the 2026 budget? May I have a motion?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg,
Yes.
Ben Stoller,
Affirmative.
Ashley Schultz,
Yes.
Stephen Weiner,
Yes.
motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. We look forward to working with you. Thanks for coming out. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, treasurer's report, you wanna, okay, we're gonna skip around a little bit. We're gonna, jump to the America at 250 World Cup. Mr. Grillo, you want to,
Sure,
to give us a little bit of an overview, and then, Maria Cucinella Falzo will take it away. Thank you.
All right. Cody, I said 750.
You said 650.
650. So he's here past 750. Great, so everybody, there is a presentation, it's attachment 5 in your packets. It's the only one in bright purple and pink. Should be pretty easy to find. As we've talked about numerous times, the World Cup is coming to the United States, Mexico, and Canada next year in June and July. The state of New Jersey will be hosting the final at MetLife Stadium, just a stone's throw from here. This is the largest World Cup ever. It'll be 64 teams instead of the normal 32. And this is an incredible economic opportunity for this region and our municipality. I can tell you, just in conversation with folks at the Short Hills Hilton, for instance, they are already working with teams as well as organized tour groups. They will sell out that hotel for 2 months straight. And so I think Airbnbs are gonna go through the roof here. We are in a great location for people that wanna not only come as tourists, but also for people that are looking in this community to spend money, to go shopping, to go eat, and not necessarily also go to the games. Stephen asked us, where we were on this process. I've actually been working with the state and other representatives for about 1.5 years now, but it was time to start putting things on paper. And so I had actually met Maria from the HIP event at a Chamber of Commerce event, I guess about 6 months ago. I won't tell you how many years of event planning she has, because she could do that, and you can pick whatever number you want. But she's got a ton of experience. I think in terms of this event, we need outside help. This is a massive international event. We need to be extremely innovative and creative, and we just need an extra pair of hands and another mind to help us work through this. And so what you'll see through this is that a lot of our service portfolio that we normally do is integrated into this program. And so I asked Maria to give us a proposal. We're not planning on taking action this evening, but I think the best way to look at it is, if you agree with this proposal in general, this is probably the baseline for our request to the Township Committee for funding next year. As you recall, this year and last year, the township provided us with $35,000 towards Town Hall Plaza. There will not be a Town Hall Plaza as we know it next year due to construction. I would hate to leave that money on the table, and I think if we can reallocate it to this major event, it is certainly a good opportunity for us to help try to boost economic development in the town and drive foot traffic. So with that, I'll hand it over to Maria, who can walk us through the presentation.
Real quick question before Maria, sorry. Have we heard surrounding communities similarly starting to plan and take action? Because I'm starting to feel competitive. We want to bring people here, not have them drawn to our neighboring communities.
Yeah, so I can tell you just from meetings that I attend with other CID directors that everybody's starting to make their moves. I don't know how well organized other organizations are, or how well funded they are. I don't know if they would get the kind of support that we get from the Township Committee, but I think we are definitely in the driver's seat at this point. I think when you look through the presentation, this is, Amanda and I have talked about this, we want to get away from sort of being this community event organization that I think we've become in a little bit more to a business event organization. And I think what you're going to see here is that this is extremely business centric. This is about putting money in the pockets of our businesses by leveraging an international event. And so look at it with that lens, because I think this is a little bit different than what we've done, because this is the last time there was a World Cup in the United States was 1994. So this is a once in a 30-year opportunity, and this is a way for us to help enrich our businesses.
Hello,
Please.
everybody. Thank you for having me. As Steve told you, my name is Maria Cucinella Falzo. I have been in the community for the better part of 20 years. I was a former public relations manager for Neiman Marcus in Short Hills. I have been a marketing director for Saks Fifth Avenue. So I really have built a career on building business with philanthropy, with community. I started the HIP event probably about 15, 16 years ago now. And I work with businesses in communities, many in this community, throughout the years, to host events, work on PR campaigns, and really just drive their awareness within the community through fashion, fun, food, all of those things. I put together a proposal based on my conversations with Steve in 3 key areas. First of all, retail, whether it be fashion or any kind of downtown business that can drive not only foot traffic, but awareness and, those press opportunities. We talked about the second piece of that would be engaging the food community throughout the town, and the third would be the viewing opportunity. So we outlined 3 key areas and ideas that we could put together, or that I could help drive forward putting together, which is, like I said, the retail area, where we could have photo opportunities, things such as the windows, getting merchandise in those areas, and then the part of the viewing and the food piece would be really driving the food to be able to go and take it out and take it to the games and watch the games. I don't have to read through the proposal, there's 3 areas for that. And then taking the plaza type experience and turning that into a viewing center where people can actually go and watch games. I broke it down into 3 key areas that would start into January and take us through July, from planning with the retailers and the businesses, coming up with opportunities for not only engagement but sponsorship opportunities as well, that we could raise more funding for the program. And then the second portion of that would start in January till about March. We would kind of create these opportunities, these packages that the retailers and food purveyors can kind of buy into and then, or be part of, and then move into the execution phases where we would pre-promote the opportunities for us to highlight the games in the community and then execute it through the actual games happening throughout town.
I just have a quote. Where would you think the viewing would be if we don't have Town Hall Plaza? Would it be in that parking lot and further down, or Bauer, or you haven't thought that? Obviously we don't know. It's a little bit of an unknown, but.
A little bit of an unknown, and we've learned, right, if you drive people to Taylor Park, they don't shop, right? So this is gonna have to be something that I think is.
In a parking lot.
Is in a parking lot, or, I would love if for the World Cup final, we could close Main Street for the weekend.
Right.
I think that's gonna be a great event. Obviously, it's a huge one. So I don't know quite where. I have talked to some screen companies. The main challenge is that, not to dive too far into the weeds, we gotta think about these things a year in advance. The games will likely be played in the early afternoon Eastern time, so they can be viewed in prime time in Europe. And so marquee games that we may wanna show in public can't be shown on a movie screen because you won't be able to see it because it's sunlight. So you have to buy screens, right? You have to buy traditional type of screen, LED or whatever. And those can be very expensive. They require generators. There's a whole logistics system that we need to work out. It's not impossible, but that's why we wanna start early and get an understanding of where we can situate things.
Can I make a suggestion or just a thought? What you're saying with that would be, is there opportunities to do that sort of thing in the restaurants and have them and drive the traffic directly there?
Sure.
Yeah. From my experience being through couple of these now, it's about the kids' experience too. Parents want something for the kids to do, well, they can actually watch. And they actually have those the screens that has a tarp over it or has a viewing tunnel. So you can actually get a big screen for literally, inexpensively. But for the kids, and then I was just saying before you came in, Maria, to Steve, is we were watching Spain versus Italy last night over at Tonino's. They could do viewing parties for adults. I mean, this should be a whole shebang. This should be a windfall. They should see, businesses should see 20% pops for their summer, revenues, if not more. So I also want to make sure we're keeping KPIs to measure the success of this program. And with, Maria's help and such, if we stay focused, we can really drive a lot of business.
It's so diverse, and I think you make a good point, right, about parents and kids, something we thought about for Girls' Night Out, we couldn't quite make it work, but wouldn't it be nice if you could drop your kid off at Curious Kids or at One River for 2 hours during a game, right? And that's where they go while you watch the game. Now, all of a sudden, these early education businesses are getting money, right, out of a soccer match.
And the gymnastics and the swim teams, all this, and they just build their base. Once you go once, you're gonna go back.
Yeah, so this is about, like I said earlier, it's about thinking just really innovatively about how do we get bodies into all of these different types of businesses and integrating them.
I could even do a workshop at the paper. I'm not sure if it's to be open then, but something along those lines.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and that's a good venue. I was thinking education component maybe in May, because there's so many people here still don't get how big of an event this is on a global basis.
Well, I think everybody here gets that.
No, you'd be surprised, like, nobody, it's football, it's American football, not soccer football. That you just kinda don't get it, like you said, this is gonna be like double than the prior year.
And what's unique, right, obviously we all know the Super Bowl is played in one day, right, this is played over a month.
Oh, no,
right, and so.
There's more money, there's $1 billion of gates or more, just gates on this.
And the timing is gonna work well, right? For the East Coast, most of these games are gonna be played at great times for people to view, right? Because it's gonna be all throughout the United States, Canada, and Mexico, but at worst, it's a 3-hour time difference, right? It's not as if it's being played in Korea and Japan, right, like it has in the past. So from a commercial perspective, businesses can really exploit this because it's hyper local. And then, of course, the final being here.
So the final is Giant Stadium?
MetLife,
MetLife Stadium, okay. And will any games be played at Red Bull or
No.
just everything will be a Giant Stadium?
No, there's at the Prudential's, is Prudential gonna have?
Not to my knowledge.
No, not Prudential, where is it? Or the one in
USA.
yeah, no, the stadium in Philly, cause it's an East Coast thing.
Lincoln Financial.
Lincoln Financial. It's not just New York, it's all of the.
Yeah, so I think the host cities are New York, Philadelphia, Washington,
Toronto.
Miami, Houston, San Diego, Vancouver, Veracruz, Mexico City. There's probably like 20 of them. And then as the tournament gets smaller, they start to then go to just a handful. And then the final match will be here at MetLife.
And building not to take away from the Short Hills Hilton's dining experience / in-house, but we drive a lot of those people down here we're literally half mile from there, so. And even do some shuttles and things like that.
And I think there's opportunities for food tours and food events that people can, pre-purchase tickets to, especially an off night, so there's a whole component there that we're.
This discussion's just whether we hire Maria or not, or
No, this is just an introductory discussion to sort of put it on everybody's radar that we're thinking about it, we're moving towards this. We're looking at as Maria as a strategic partner in the execution of a variety of events. And I think amongst ourselves with your guidance, I think a food, like a pub crawl kind of thing or
Sure.
food. If we can really engage our businesses in a different way or any of our eating establishments.
Well, I think the critical question, Ben, from a timing perspective is, will the township committee allocate funds like they've done in the past? Normally, we go through the budget process, right? I introduce a draft budget in September, you vote on it in October.
I don't see any problem getting 3 of the 5 votes. I think, that married to having KPIs and showing the effectiveness and the ROI on the project, I think, it's gonna benefit everyone. And I always say shop local, dine local, stay local, go to local theater, try to do as much as you can. But, that's one way for the township to get back and make sure that.
And if I knew, right, that we had 30, 35, 40,000, whatever that magic number is, then we can start signing contracts with vendors, purchasing equipment, coming up with the logistical plan. Right now, I don't have any money in the budget, so the answer is there is no event, right? If the township committee wants to allocate that funding like they've done for Town Hall Plaza, then we have an event.
I think it's just another iteration of Township Plaza.
I agree.
So it should not be a big issue.
So I think in a perfect world, if we could get the thumbs up from the township committee in advance of our budget hearing, then we could get things moving. So I'll have a conversation with Alex and Jared Cantor about that and
Just tell me what I need.
see if we can get it on the agenda, so we at least know that money's gonna be there.
Yeah, and also too, with the great success we've had in, getting some sponsors, we can allocate some sponsor money to it. I mean, the idea of having the kids dropped off at an educational program at the paper mill, they can sponsor something, the swim club, the swim factory, all this stuff. People can start throwing some. And that gymnastics, my oldest kid's now 13 and she went through that, but to drop the kids off for a free gymnastics lesson, even if it's in kind.
So no action to take, we can let Maria go if you guys don't have any more questions, and
Can I
will-
speak for a second? Can you hear me?
oh, Ashley Schultz, yes, please.
Hey, how
Hi,
are you?
Ashley.
Hey, Maria. So, first of all, my wife is Brazilian, so I've learned over the years how huge this event is. So, I think this is an excellent idea. And I've worked with Maria in the past. She did a grand opening for us when we completed our renovation, and our clients still talk about it to this day, and that was 13 years ago. So, I can't speak highly enough. I didn't know she was going to be presenting tonight. I didn't know this was happening. But I can't speak highly enough about Maria. She's
Thank you
excellent
for
and
that.
professional and everything. So
Thank you,
that's all I
Ashley.
wanted to say. You got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate that vote of confidence.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions for Maria?
Ashley, do you live in town?
I don't live in
Okay.
town, I live in Cedar Grove,
Okay, that's good. You live in New Jersey.
I live in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so
thank you
much.
so much.
I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning of the agenda, treasurer's report.
Hey, thank
Mr.
you,
Weiner.
Chair. Attachment 3 in your packets tonight is our financial report since the last meeting. I can run through some highlights for you like I always do. Bank balance as of May 31 was $201,808 and change. An updated number as of June 3rd was $194,570 and some change. So you'll see, just to call out the special assessment line, because I always watch for this. It shows that we've collected 86.56%. However, we've received another approximately $14,000. So the percentage is now in the 90s%. We just haven't calculated it yet. So we're definitely on a good track there. And then on the expense side, we had, always just draw your attention to the very bottom. So our approved budget, $381,288 so far this year to date. And I'm calling it because we're near the end of June. So year to date expenses have been $129,157.83. So we are very much on track. I'm cognizant of and have another board meeting scheduled till September, I believe. So, but we definitely are on track, and for over the summer, we're in good shape.
Yeah, and Amanda and I ran our half year numbers this week, and I'm projecting a surplus over our 20,000 reserve. So I think we'll probably have about 35,000 in the bank or so at the end of the year, which is based on our typical operations, just fine.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions regarding the budget? From the dais? No, I know, I understand that. I'm just talking about Stephen. Okay. Ms. Dean, Director of Marketing, Sponsorship Financial Report Attachment number 4.
Okay, per usual, it's always out of date because things change within a couple days. So as of today, we have committed sponsorships, monetary and in kind of $45,750. $41,750 is monetary, 5,000 is in kind. And 33,000 is already in the bank, that's 79% of the monetary sponsorships. Our goal is 41,000, so we've surpassed that now, just finishing out the second quarter. And I anticipate that we're gonna probably bring in another 15 to 20,000, which will be great. That'll add to the numbers Steve's talking about, but also give us some other capabilities throughout the year. We still have opportunities, people can be table sponsors for Town Hall Plaza. The cutoff for Upper Millburn Ave Block Party is July 7th, I'll talk about that more. And then we also have opportunities remaining for Halloween and for the Winter Villages. So the only past due is $250 from Design Hub, which we will give them a visit. But we're in great shape. Any questions?
I'd like to just add a column that's an attachment 4. It says percent of total. If you look, it's interesting, Town Hall Plaza represents 36% of our sponsor revenue. So I think to Ben's point, hopefully we can translate that excitement to the World Cup, and we know it's a big chunk of our sponsorship dollars to begin with.
Great, thank you, Amanda. Ben, Township Committee Report, Mr. Stoller.
Thank you. So in terms of just Township Committee, we had to kick off the Township Plaza, Town Hall Plaza last weekend. It was literally packed. What a great turnout we had. Poets section was fantastic. Just a lot of good people congregating, and as friends, family, and everybody just had a great time. The food vendors had not come out yet. They're coming out with the close of school, but they could have sold anything they wanted. By the way, I spoke to Fernando at Mariachi, and he's looking very forward to participating in what they can do as well. And I had one other call on that too, for Township Plaza. You know what I think we need, and this is for people who order with a delivery service, a central delivery service location with a table or something. That I think that would be great and add a lot of value to it.
You want to feel that one?
So we attempted to do that last year. It did not go well. Maybe it's because it was the first time we were having the plaza in that way. So I'm sure we could try to do that again. But it kind of became
We got 0 deliveries.
Yeah.
all year.
So if you all want us to, we can pursue that again, but it was not worth the time we put into it last year.
The other thing we want to really be careful of is that if it's a Grubhub or a DoorDash, we want to make sure that we're supporting our local Millburn-Short Hills restaurants as opposed to.
Well, trust me, everyone's not gonna be waiting around for stuff coming from other towns, but like we had an order delivered as well for people we were with. And
They couldn't
find, right,
Couldn't find them.
where you
Okay.
parking, where you doing this, where you doing that. I think, I know we spent a lot of time with the cards and whatever and such.
You know what we did last year that it didn't end up working, but it's probably a good step, is we gave people an address to tell delivery drivers. There's a residential home on Essex Street, it's the last street, and so last house. So we told people, put in that address and then look in front of you and you will see where you need to go.
Right, well.
So we do that.
Yeah, and also too, if you call in, I've noticed from a couple other people, if you call in an event to a Uber or not Uber Eats or DoorDash or any of those beyond menu, they'll actually list that as a delivery for it.
Town Hall Plaza?
Hmm.
Oh, cool.
Well, speaking of Town Hall Plaza, I just want to mention to everybody that this weekend we'll have music on Friday night. And then we have Spoon Circus and a kids glow party on Saturday, 6:30 to 9:30. This is something new that we're trying, and I think it's gonna be just a terrific opportunity for us to engage another portion of our residents, some of our younger residents that below the sleepaway camp age group, if you will. So that's Saturday, June 28th from 6:30 to 9:30, so please share with all your respective groups. I think it should be a nice evening.
Yeah.
And our DJ, I'm having.
DJ LeBrock.
Yes, DJ LeBrock, Millburn's own, so 11, or is he now 12?
I think he may be 10.
Oh.
I have to check with his mom, Claire.
Okay. I thought he was 10, I thought he was 11, okay, or 12. Yeah.
Do we have a memo we can send to the preschools or all of the
Yes,
kids to that? Send it to the
We've
preschool
been
to say,
distributing all
Yeah,
that.
and I have another blast going out tomorrow morning, so.
Great,
They're all on our distribution.
yeah, I figured they were.
yeah.
That's the audience you want.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Hoffman, Business Administrator report.
Good evening, everybody. I have nothing to report this evening. Thank you.
The town hasn't done anything in a month.
None of us.
Okay, Mr. Slattery.
Good evening, everyone. I think I can be brief. So the two items on this agenda are the Bear Properties 1 and 2 case status and the Township SID Review Committee status. So starting with Bear Properties 1, there's still no decision in that case. We'll wait and see when it happens, and you'll be the second to know after I. In terms of Bear Properties 2, there are now pending motions to dismiss by all the defendants, the SID and the Township. A motion to vacate the Township's default, a motion to disqualify Mr. Feld by the Township, and a motion to enforce litigants' rights, which was filed by the Township. That last one is the only one that's new. That is an attempt by the Township to prevent Mr. Feld from contacting representative parties, in this case the Township Committee, about the subject matter of the case. All of those are pending and currently returnable July 8th. However, the Township's attorney has requested an adjournment of the motions to a later date, not very long in the future, the following week, to accommodate his schedule. All the parties have agreed to that, but the court hasn't given us the new date yet, so I wouldn't anticipate them going on the 8th, but I would anticipate them going within 2 weeks of that date. Whether we get a decision that day, I can't tell you. I hope that we at least get a decision on Bear Properties 1 around that time, but I can't promise that either. Any questions so far? Okay. With respect to the SID Review Committee, which, for members of the public who aren't aware, members of the Township Committee have approached the board to ask for assistance with updating the ordinance that controls the SID and some of the policies and procedures that the SID operates under. So we had a productive meeting a few weeks ago, and as part of that process, we're discussing whether additional businesses could be added to the SID, whether the method of appointing board members might be changed, some other changes to the design to help balance the assessment on membership and to hopefully improve the SID's functionality. These were broad strokes discussions, so all the details are in flux. The committee members asked that we provide them sort of an update on where we're at by tomorrow, which between Steve and myself and the executive committee members we will do, which will include sort of a preliminary investigation into what cost changes might be required and any of these some sample ordinance language and things like that from my end that might be helpful for them. So as we get closer to maybe that taking shape, I'll continue to update you on that. And that's all I have unless there are questions.
Anybody at the dais have any questions with respect to those aforementioned items?
It might just be good to clarify for the public, so the SID Review Committee is an ad hoc committee of the Township Committee. It's two representatives, Deputy Mayor Cohen and Committee Member Sacamandi. They've been tasked with initiating these discussions. They've had a one-on-one with me, they've had a one-on-one with the Executive Board and Mr. Slattery. They have asked us for certain recommendations as well as other data, but none of that is binding, right? To change the ordinance would still require a majority vote of the Township Committee. So we're gonna do our job and get them the information that they're looking for. But without a vote in the affirmative by the majority of the township committee, nothing would change. So there's a whole bunch of steps in this process. I just want everyone to understand that just because the city review committee may want something, that's only 2 members out of 5. And so there's a process that we're undertaking with that.
Yeah, and just to piggyback for a moment, some of these changes may not even require an ordinance amendment. It may be just things we could do a little differently. There are many ways to skin a cat, as they say. So right now, we're in the sort of brainstorming and data collection phase. We will report back to the township committee members and to you about what our findings are, what information we have, what recommendations we can make, and this thing will slowly take shape over the next several months probably.
Thank you, Mr. Slattery. Amanda, marketing and events report, please.
All right, Steve gave me 10 minutes, it may take me 15.
You
So
take
we'll
as
see.
much time as you need, Amanda.
Okay, so we have a lot to report on. Since we won't be meeting until September, I wanted to give you kind of a thorough rundown of Girls' Night Out. To me, this was the most robust event that we've had, a single day event, since I've been here. We had over 500 in attendance. I do want to start out with thank yous to the Girls' Night Out Committee, Vicki, heading up the committee for several years now. Jean from SLT My Skin, Rupali from Spotless Dry Cleaners, Nadej, local resident and property owner, and Kelly of Real Style Exchange. So they were behind the theme and again, we started February this year. And also I wanted to make a shout out to Erica Russo, the branch manager for M&T Bank. She's with us volunteering with every event, and she put in a couple days helping with Girls' Night Out, so just invaluable. And Zach and Corinne, that I think most of you have met, have just been indispensable, and they really helped with our social campaigns this year, with event setup and everything. So we had a really good team together to pull this off. Participation, we had 56 businesses participate, 4 community organizations, 3 sponsors that are non-SID. And when I say participate, I mean either in the swag bags or on site or something like that being open. We had 11 volunteers the day of, which is fantastic. It's always a challenge to get volunteers. So that was really helpful for us. Sponsorship, we raised $12,250, $9,250 of that was monetary, $3,000 in kind. And Richard's not here, but we did have a website sponsor, Design Hub, so we've been selling those out. We had great social media presence. I know you all saw that with Ron Burgundy and Tony from Saturday Night Fever, as well as Jessica Chu and NJ Hipsterbia. So we had a lot of fun doing that. And then highlights of the event, if you weren't able to attend, we had a pop-up village this year. We had 16 businesses, which in the past we've had 3 or 5 or something, and it kind of was, you weren't sure what was going on, but this was definitely a significant part of the event. And I think it was really beautiful and it was packed. Hala Studios, a new studio in town, they did walk-up Zumba in front of Gansha, and then they also did dance performances there. We had drag queen performances, which people loved. Our swag bags were great. I forgot to bring one with me, but branded and tons of great stuff from multiple businesses. Our selfie wall was really cool. We hired a balloon artist for that as well. And that had aligned most of the event for people taking photos. Website was great. I think the branding was really, really great for this event. Corinne was very helpful in making a lot of different templates and things. So very happy with how that looked. And then we had a lovely after party for community members and sponsors and businesses at La Strada. It was a nice way to end the night. Just to note some improvements and efficiencies from 2024. Last year, Steve and I spent probably a dozen or more hours building selfie walls. This year, the selfie wall just took a couple hours, which was great. We installed easier DIY decorative elements, and we also reduced a lot of staff time because of the efficiencies we did. We also did not have formal registration, so we didn't have a lot of issues with people coming to check in and everything. We still did the 200 swag bags. As far as pivots and improvements for 2026, we're still collecting data to make informed decisions and effective recommendations. We'll be surveying businesses and attendees next week. As well as we'll have a postmortem with the Girls Night Out Committee. I just had to switch gears from that to Town Hall Plaza very quickly. We had our postmortem yesterday with our team, and then I still have a lot of digital marketing data to review. So more on that. Any questions about Girls Night Out before I move on?
Real quick, how quickly did those swag bags go? Cause we had some people in the store and they said, oh my God, they showed up early, people were there early. It was like this big thing.
We had a 4:30 pickup. The event officially started at 5. People were in line before 4 p.m. So it was great because it helped populate the pop-up area as well. So it doesn't seem to matter what time we start. You know, we had, it was approximately 200, maybe a few less than that went, but yeah, they were gone that fast. Any other questions? Okay, so Town Hall Plaza, I'm in the right order here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we opened last Friday, as Ben and Jackie had mentioned. We have live music scheduled every Friday and Saturday night from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. except for the 4th of July. We have about 6 or so mini events happening over the summer. They are ranging from bagel tastings to a learning festival. Homestead is sponsoring another movie night in August. Community partners include, but are not limited to, the Millburn Mamas and Minis and the Millburn Autism Alliance. As Jackie mentioned, this Saturday we have Spoon Circus with the Glow Party. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. And then some upgrades and changes as well. I just wanted to bring some attention to that. For those of you who haven't been there, we've really stepped it up with our signage and branding. We have new barriers now that have barrier covers with our logos, the township and sponsors. So I think it's really made the space more professional. Yeah, I think it's just been a game changer. We also have semi-permanent tents for the food vendors when they do come, and I'll talk more about that. So there isn't the put it up, take it down, put it, you know, and also controls the look as well. So we are gonna have food court signage around that as well, and barriers, so it creates a nice look there too. The Simple Fair will be here this weekend selling beverages, and then La Strada and Mariachi will start on July 5th and go through the remainder of the summer. Pliables has signed up for several weekends in July and August, and then we're still looking to fill a few spots, so we'll be making formal announcements about that. Let's just see, we do not have real plants this year, so we don't have to worry about watering. And we did a layout change for those that have been there. It's kind of an L now, and I think the kid area is really successful so far. It's also, I feel, safer with how we have it set up. And then we hired, as you know, Zach and Corinne. Part of their jobs is to be there as our representatives to make sure everything's okay at the live music. So Steve and I don't have to be there every other night. So that's going really well. And sponsors, we have 8 sponsors. Concierge Pediatrics is the signature sponsor. They are new to the Mars Turnpike District. We have committed $14,750, and our webpage sponsor is Live Breads. So that's what I have so far for Town Hall Plaza. We have another blast going out tomorrow morning. We'll be posting several times a week. Any questions?
Great for sunshine.
Yeah, and thank you to Tim. We always work well together, and a lot of ordering and a lot of back and forth. So it's definitely a team effort. Anything else?
Space looks terrific. You should be very proud. Really, you did a great job.
And that was a great idea about moving the children's space
Yes,
into that, it's kind of a corral basically.
yes, it's much more
And you have the
integrated.
cop sitting there on the other side of the corral,
Yeah.
so.
It's much more integrated. It's closer to the,
It's not as loud too, like,
Right.
yeah, it's just, I think it
Right,
works
it's,
on a lot of
it's
levels.
safer too, I mean, when we were last year, I saw one kid running towards this, a ball.
the street, yeah.
Right, my son.
Well, I think it might have been, I ran and grabbed him.
No, I think it's great. I think you did a great job, and I'm looking forward to having the variety of restaurant participation. Simple Fare is, you know, they're not even a year out of the box, so it's,
They sold out at Girls Night Out, they set up a pop-up tent and they were sold out by 7 p.m.
wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
So moving on to Upper Millburn Ave Block Party, very excited, so I wanted to give you guys a copy. This is the branding. I've been working with the Metropolitan, who's the signature sponsor on the branding, on using, you know, our colors and selections from either of our fonts and everything, so this is kind of the final product. It's July 26th from 1 to 4 p.m. The brief overview is the block party. It's going to be family friendly, open to the public and free to attend. There will be bounce houses, axe throwing, the Velcro kind, circus performers. Yeah, I just wanted, I'm putting that in everything.
Come on, it's over.
Our insurance policy is not that
It
good.
will be the last of it. And a beer garden, carnival games, live music, food vendors and more. I already have businesses signing up to have stalls and table there. We will be aggressively following up with them, especially Upper Millburn Ave businesses, to make sure everyone's open and engaging with the visitors there. I went over branding. Save the date is going out tomorrow, email, social, and I have to get the webpage up. That may not be tomorrow, but all that's gonna hit tomorrow. See, sponsorship, we went over, it's a combination of the Metropolitan and Garden Communities, which Garden Communities owns Metropolitan. And we're also gonna be working with them to try and engage Springfield residents to come out as well. So, I mean, I think we all know the goal here is to get residents of the Metropolitan to come out and engage with those businesses, but we're already starting to work with other entities, and we also, obviously, the Glenwood section and everything, so it's for everyone, but, you know, it's nice to do something.
So
On Upper Millburn Ave.
you have a street closure for this?
So we're still working out details.
Uh-huh.
We will make more of a formal announcement after July 4th.
Okay.
Glad to discuss that in executive committee, but don't wanna get into that right now if that's
Okay, that's fine.
So far, 5 sponsors, we've raised $8,750. The deadline is July 4th. Our webpage sponsor is Art of Problem Solving Academy, another Mars Turnpike business. And I think that's it. So we're just getting started. Any questions?
Was this the follow-up event from last year?
Yeah, we moved
Yes.
it. Yeah, we moved.
Yes, and the Metropolitan, I believe, gave us.
It's
about
5,000.
5K. Yeah, okay, terrific. And are they full? Do we know what the occupancy is?
They were or close to full a couple months ago. So the timing is also better. Last year it was a little early.
Yeah.
So I think this is gonna be great, and I know they have there's a variety of residents there, but there are a lot of empty nesters with kids, with grandkids, so they'll be bringing them out, so I think it's gonna kind of appeal to everyone. Yeah, it's so exciting.
Yeah, Bart came to I live in Glenwood, right, so that's a great pocket of homes to try to market. That was a good idea.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, and I'm grateful that the Township Committee and the Friday voice, Millburn Message also includes an event, an Explore event.
Yes, we will continue to do that. The block party will go out, should be in this.
Something you need to start.
More part, it is.
I hear them bumping around like, give a drink in there. Wow, thanks for bringing it out to everybody.
Any other questions?
No, it's great work, great work.
And if, when you do speak about the closure, let me know if you need any help with the township committee side, because, you know, I think it's gonna be a great event, and it really will bring the folks from the, and probably bring people from the heart, like, have we told them as well to bring them the other way?
Yeah, and we're just really getting started with the promotions of it. You know, we put the date out several months ago, but now it's the save the date tomorrow.
And it's nice the Metropolitan put the 5K towards it, because.
And we hung on to that since last year.
Yeah, I know.
They're wonderful to work with. They really are. I've had several meetings with them. And they're gonna be able to provide water to us, so we're gonna have a water slide for kids as well, because God knows how hot it's gonna be.
Right.
But yeah, they've been great.
Are you still providing the swag bags, or they've sort of, the community bags for the new residents? I guess that's sort of
Oh, the welcome bags.
welcome bags,
Yes,
thank you.
yes, actually, I have to follow up with them because there's always a certain percentage of turnover in leasing.
Mhm.
So I just need to see how many they need, but I think they need about 30 in the next 3 weeks. So that's something that's on my list.
And I would be curious to see if those are effective, if businesses have seen, I don't know.
And uptick.
Yeah, walking in with one of those coupons or whatever's in there, you know.
What I've heard is, it's not so much walking in, but they're mentioning it, so they're not necessarily bringing the cards with them. I also know when I talked to the property manager, that they said the residents are going nuts over them. I didn't have enough for one drop off, and people were like, where's mine? So I think
Okay,
like any marketing thing, it's building with layers. And so I don't have specific statistics
No,
on that.
I was just curious, any kind of feedback.
But it's
So
a
that's
really
great
inexpensive way to put your business out there by putting a card in a.
to new residents, no, it's great.
Yeah, and, yeah.
Yeah.
The box car, we're right up the street.
Yeah.
And the hearth, where, anything
We
with-
did a round of 53,
Okay.
they wanted them all at once, which was great. So I followed up with Danielle, and they don't need any more at this point, but I'll continue to keep in touch with her. Great. Anything else?
No, thank
Okay.
you. I don't think there's any. Does anybody else from the dais have any other questions?
I just want to say thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
doing, I mean, this is more from a business owner side of it, that, you know, without this organization doing like these swag, but these bags, I mean, from a business owner perspective, it's a nightmare, like, it's how you know, I'm gonna meet the right person, you gotta get, I mean, so, you know, it's great you guys are doing this, and I'm sure the business is very appreciative of it.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the executive director report, new businesses, closed businesses.
Thank you. So since the beginning of the year, 15 businesses have opened. Since our last meeting, no businesses have opened, but there are 8 that are currently under construction. And so I'll let you know about those now. In the downtown, we have a replacement for Green Door Studio. It's called Pop Blossom Studio. They are an arts and education location for children. And I've already onboarded them, and they're actually going to be attending our second circus event at Town Hall Plaza on July 12th. I just found out this morning. I don't want to get in trouble. Gather is soon to be located at the Envision. So if you're at the corner of Millburn and Lackawanna, the park is on the right, and there's a white building on the left. That business Envision is moving out of the area. They're going into more of an industrial warehouse setting. They don't need a retail for their operation anymore. So I've actually been speaking to these folks. They are coming in September, but they signed their lease a couple of months ago.
What do they do?
What is it?
It's high-end antique furniture, decor, and household items. And so I think they go to estate sales and purchase high-end materials and other things. I've onboarded them already, and I've actually connected them with the NJEDA for the new tenant program that they can implement. Urban Scoop is at the former Butter Shoes. That should be opening within the next few days. And I just got a text while we were sitting here tonight that Peel Juice Bar, which is at the former Elephant Plate in downtown, should be opening on July 25th. So
Juice bar.
if I could go in there and lay the tile myself, I would.
Well, they're waiting for special
Giving
time.
Yes. So Upper Millburn Avenue, we have 2 businesses coming in. Enzo Custom Suits, no relation to the restaurant, is gonna be at the former Equo Spa. If you guys know that small building, it's next to Tiger Schulman and Lash Love. This will actually be their 14th store in the US. They're a custom suit dealer, and they've got spots in Manhattan, Beverly Hills, Miami. And then Sea Cats Fit Gym is just signed a lease today at the former Highlander Capitol on Upper Millburn. That's next to the Janelle Salon. And so I have their contact information. I'll be onboarding them as well.
And then Morris Turnpike's Aquatot Swim School is still in progress with their lease negotiations at the gymnastics school, share that space. And then the veterinary emergency group, which has been a wonderful sponsor, they're under construction. I saw the crew working today at the old farm next to Panera. Since the beginning of the year, so we had 15 open, we've had 10 closed, but 4 of those have already been replaced. Since our last meeting, we did lose 2 businesses. Cubic and Cubic Hearing Center is moving, and then Rocky's Crystals in downtown closed this shop. I think they have 2 others elsewhere. In terms of the totality, we have 522 total businesses in the 5 districts. We have 8 storefronts for rent and 6 long-term vacancies. So that gives us a vacancy rate of 4.58%. So we are still sub 5% for the last 3.5 years. And the downtown vacancy rate is 0.97%, so it is sub 1%.
When did you say Urban Scoop is planning to open?
I would say it would be probably within the next 7 to 10 days.
That hearing aid, they've been there forever, right?
Yeah, I've been speaking to the broker that's representing it now, and I think it's not ADA compliant, the building. If you think about it, there's a deck you have to get up to, like a porch. And I think as they may have an older clientele, that maybe between that and the parking just probably wasn't the right location for them. So I'm working with the broker to try to find a replacement.
Since this is our last meeting before the summer break, basically, let's make sure we coordinate with the police department on Urban Scoop opening. Remember the problem we had?
Sure.
When I welcomed Van Leeuwen ice cream shop, and we had literally 300 kids show up for $1 ice creams. It was crazy, it was like a zoo. And we had to close down part of Main Street, sure enough, we get hit by a car and things like that. But one of the things, I work very closely with Chief Gilfetter, is if we can give him a heads up that it's gonna happen, and he can have some standby instead of letting it get.
I've been working with the Urban Scoop guys for a while on permitting and things. I will promise you, we will know a lot further in advance than we did with Van Leeuwen when I found out the afternoon before. So yeah, we will definitely coordinate that, and all of you guys will know about it. In terms of just some marketing stuff I want to talk about on the business side, the economic development side. So you guys have a copy of the latest July edition of Millburn-Short magazine, and you guys know we have a partnership with them. So we have our monthly article, and actually the August edition is going to be a feature on all the new businesses that have opened up this year. But in that magazine you're looking at, we had Van Leeuwen, Urban Scoop, Haagen-Dazs, Skin Love Today, Color Theory Salon, Raquel Stein Interior Design, and Shala's Boutique. So 7 SID businesses were featured in that one edition. So that continues to be a terrific partnership. We also kicked off 2 new social media campaigns for the summer. The first one is for sort of a tour of businesses that are proximate to Town Hall Plaza. The goal is to get people to understand that Town Hall Plaza is a great jumping off point, it's a great destination, but there's businesses all around it. And so yesterday we did our first release. I anticipate between 8 and 10 of those reels that'll go out with me literally saying, this is the name of the business, this is what they do, check it out. And then we're also going to be working with local residents on a multilingual shop local campaign that'll go live in August. We want folks to speak in Korean, Arabic, Hindi, Chinese, get the message out that you need to support your local community. I think if we do it in their native tongue, it's gonna be a very interesting attention-grabbing effort.
Right, yeah.
So Zach Minter, who's on our team, is gonna be working with me to coordinate that. So through July, you'll see the Town Hall Plaza promo, and then in August, you'll see the multilingual. If you guys have questions, I can move on to the Main Street report.
No, I think that's great. How long will you have Zach and Corinne?
Zach and Corinne have contracts through the end of the year.
Oh, through the end of the year, great.
Yeah, they're both part-time, they're about, 15 hours a week? Something
Yeah,
like that.
it's more in the summer because of Town Hall Plaza, but yeah, they're about 12 hours, and then 12 to 15, 16.
Great.
They've been invaluable.
Yeah.
Main Street, so attachment 6, I'm not gonna go through the whole report, but the first 2 pages are relevant to what I'm gonna speak about. So, as you guys remember back on May 6th, Main Street America came to town, to visit us. They gave us a report, on their findings. And then we also had a call, Amanda and I, earlier this month, with Main Street America, Main Street, New Jersey, to talk a little bit more in detail about some of the challenges, ambitions, because what we're going to do in tandem with them is create what's called, a transformation plan. So that's like your big picture goals for the next 5 to 10 years. I already submitted a draft when we put in our Main Street, New Jersey application back in early 2024. So this will be kind of an update, refinement, but we get to do it in partnership with the experts at Main Street America. And so they gave us our scorecard. But let me tell you first, so there are 4 steps to this process. The first is to become a Main Street, New Jersey community. We did that. Then you work with Main Street, New Jersey and Main Street America to look at your framework, right? These 6 and 9 different categories. If you meet the 6 framework goals and the 9 baseline requirements, you can then become an affiliate of Main Street America. And then if you maintain those goals, you become accredited. So accredited is the highest level of Main Street community in the nation. So you need 6 framework goals and 9 baseline requirements. We currently have 3 of the 6 frameworks and 7 of the 9 baseline. So I am very, very happy with where we are. And if you look at page 1 here, the reason that we don't meet the standard for the inclusive leadership and organizational capacity is because it's something actually we're working on potentially with the restructuring of the SID ordinance to change our advisory board and committee makeup. Once we do that, we'll be in compliance. The transformation strategy, item number 4, it's not finished, so it doesn't meet the standard, but we're actively working. And then demonstrated impact and results. When we finish our annual report at the end of the year, I'll submit it to Main Street America, and then we'll achieve that goal. So by the end of this year, we'll probably have 5 out of 6 completed for those 6 framework goals. And then the baseline requirements on page 2, we've met 9 out of this, 7 out of the 9, as I said. The only 2 that we haven't met are related to the transformation plan. So obviously that's in progress, that's why it hasn't been met. But I think, considering that we've only been in the program for 6 months, we're doing really, really well, and I give credit to you guys. I always went into this with the mentality of trying to base our SID activity and our service portfolio on the Main Street tenants. And we've done that, and that's why it was so easy, I think, for us to get into the program and for us to meet these goals. So there's plenty of text after this I'm not gonna get into, but a lot of it's gonna show up at our September workshop meeting, because a lot of it's gonna be the part of the plan for our budget and our work portfolio for 2026.
Do we have a date for that September workshop?
It's our board meeting that night, so I think
So
it's the 25th.
Okay, just wanna make sure.
Real quick question on that.
Yes.
The accredited status, it just says must maintain all goals. What's the time frame on that?
It's usually 1 year after you achieve the affiliate.
Certification.
Oh, so just one, okay.
Yeah, so your affiliate, if you maintain the affiliate for a year, you can then become accredited. People do go back and forth from accredited to affiliated, so, we won't, of course, but, yes.
Thank you.
I have a question. What happens when we get to that highest level? What do we get? What's the value of those?
There's not a tremendous amount of difference, in terms of what we receive. Pretty much there is federal money from Main Street America that can be available to us. I would say that's probably the biggest thing. I don't know what that's gonna look like when we eventually get to that status, but primarily it's funding academics that we can try.
And probably maintaining best practices, right?
Yeah.
We're leveraging their experience and,
That's probably good happening.
yeah,
The framework, all of this.
that's right.
And then the final item is attachment 7 in your packet. So this is, if you recall, last meeting, we talked about this document we're calling Building a Resilient Business and Securing Your Future. And so this is all about how small businesses can address some of the financial challenges that they may face. And so there are 4 categories that we outlined in this document. Review revenue and expenses, vendor relationships, financial tools, and marketing. There's also a dozen digital links that when you access this electronically, you can then watch webinars that we've recorded, access to information from some of our partners, including NJEA and Union County EDC. And then at the end, there's a short list of projects that we may start implementing, and actually the multiple language promotion is one of those. So I wanted to see if anybody had a chance to review this, any comments. Ben's comments from last time were incorporated, and the word he did not like has been removed. And so other than that, if anybody has any comments, I'll take them now, and then we'd like to go live with this as soon as possible. To be on our website, so go out via our weekly newsletter, et cetera.
Yeah, I might add to the back of it, just kind of, partner with Explore. Kind of the Explore commercial.
Right.
That little spread, that little, not little, but the some type of just a summary of what we do for them. Because that's big too. I mean, I'm just excited by all the things we've discussed tonight, the paper mill doing the, bring them here, the Short Hills Hilton with the World Cup, and also too, we're doing the 250-year celebration of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So all this will be going on parallel.
I will add a new slide. We have plenty of content to add in.
That's pretty good.
It's succinct. Which is what I
Saying, one, I'm looking at renegotiate long-term vendor agreements though. The challenge we have had is that we don't have enough leverage to renegotiate. So it's like, yeah, it sounds good, but I wonder how many small businesses who are struggling or who they'd love to do that, but I wonder if there's any more practical advice. I like what you say later in that section, like reassess your agreements, kind of rethink about it. Asking them to renegotiate from what could be a much larger vendor though, that's tough for a lot of small businesses.
Yeah, I don't think it's universal. But especially if you're using smaller vendors, they're probably facing the same financial problems as you are.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
well, Steve, I understand what you're saying from a legal standpoint. Instead of renegotiate, analyze.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, like review, analyze
Review
for
and
long
analyze,
term.
right.
So you think a change of the phrasing?
A little bit, yeah, because with possible renegotiation, but analyzing, because you dust them off and say, oh gosh, I've had them for 10 years. I forgot, and then it's yeah.
And if you're buying product overseas, you go local, things like that.
Yeah.
Just review
Yeah.
the
Basics.
Basics,
Back to
yeah.
basics.
I think also, it's looking at other vendors, like say you have Toast and Clover or something like that, seeing if you can get a better deal with someone else or bringing that back and seeing if they'll matching. So I think there's a lot of ways to approach it.
And part of the links here, we did a webinar with Erica Russo from M&T
Yeah.
about financial tools. And that was part of what we discussed in that webinar is, think about what are you paying your point of sale system, right? Can you be more competitive? What are you paying on your credit cards?
Every bank in town has a small business package.
Yep.
Compare the package.
Shop it around.
Say $1,200, that's meaningful over, to small business.
Yeah, so consider alternative sources, right? You're reviewing your long-term vendor relationships and consider alternate providers or something.
At some point, I would really like to see if we could figure out something that for, the amount of restaurants that are using a number 10 cup or, and
16-ounce coffee, cold ice beverage, yeah.
or and see if in fact there's a way to say, I don't know how to do it.
No, that was actually the second thing that I was gonna say to
Okay.
Stephen is, I think it's essentially collective bargaining, right?
Right,
But obviously it takes an enormous amount of work,
yeah,
but in a perfect world, that is something that Explore would do. I've talked about it with other city directors.
Yeah.
Nobody has the manpower, but if this community were essentially buying the same certain items from vendors in bulk, it could be very competitive, right? And so does it happen tomorrow? No, but is it something that's on my mind? Yes, I would love to do something like that.
Right.
Because everybody's probably buying the same coffee cup.
right,
Right.
exactly.
The same
And
paper,
everybody's
the same
buying the
thing.
same takeout container,
Yeah.
right? And or
Or bags.
or bags or napkins or foil sheets for takeout or, or wax paper.
There's power in numbers.
Right.
And dollars.
I think maybe a different way to approach it is, let's see if, Allen Paper and Imperial Paper and maybe their salespeople wanna come in and maybe make a presentation and see if they can, it's just something to think about. Maybe approach it differently
Yeah, that's
from
a
the
good idea.
supply, because they have an incentive to,
Well, I would think the amount of work to do that would be, I don't think we have enough people to do that work, but I think a similar thought would be bring in Restaurant Depot or Costco and do a special discount for the collective group, Millburn-Short Hills, and anybody who's a member of Explore or the Chamber of Commerce. Make sure that Steve's writing my name, so.
It's funny you say it again, you guys keep beating me to it by half a second, but I'm like, thinking about Restaurant Depot. Could there be some Millburn incentive?
Well, yeah, there should be, and also too, just, when we do the, so I'm gonna volunteer for the, Rocktoberfest. When I go over there, part of Millburn, Short Hills, Rocktoberfest, they give us everything at those prices and, everybody can discount the discount, so.
That's my report.
great,
Thank you all.
thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, we're at the point in our agenda for the public comment. The public is invited to provide comments. Clearly state your name for the record and limit comments to 3 minutes. Prepared statements may be sent to steve@exploremillburnshorthills.org. Please remember that this is a business meeting and professional decorum must be maintained. If a speaker engages in disorderly conduct that disrupts the meeting or is meant to intimidate attendees, they will be asked to cease their comments. All questions must be directed to the chair. At the conclusion of public comment, members of the board may respond or ask the attorney to do so. Staff and the attorney will not answer questions without a request from board members. Okay, Jamie, you're at the podium. I'm gonna just take one from, nothing?
We have nobody on Zoom.
Nobody on Zoom, okay. Mr. Ceruto, you have the floor.
Right. Thank you very much. I'm Jamie Ceruto, Short Hills resident, my entire life, I'm a Short Hills resident. And a proud patron of businesses in all of the SID districts and all around town, all around the Special Improvement District. And I've been speaking to a number of business owners, property owners, managers and employees, and hearing a lot of great feedback about what's going on in our community and a lot of awesome new additions to town, which I'm very excited about. And also some great renovation, for example, Haagen-Dazs, right? We have different ice cream spots going into town. I love Haagen-Dazs, and it's an amazing refresh there, including great discussions with Vicky as well. So I would just like to encourage the community and kind of take a firm stance that, as Millburn-Short Hills residents, we need to shop local. Our own residents need to support our local businesses first when thinking of a product or a service or a gift. This is a teacher gift season. This is a summer gathering season, summer send-offs. Think about making sure you and the whole public thinks of our local businesses first today, right? And I'll talk about July 4th in a moment, but president of the Millburn-Short Hills 4th of July Committee, we're putting out signs in front of the high school. I needed to get a ton of zip ties. Where do I go? Do I drive past Five Guys and all the way to Home Depot? No, I support a business that has been around for over 100 years, Bunchers, right? Do I need it? If I need a lovely gift for my mother, Shala's is always the go-to. If whatever it is, I eat, at Oscar's at least once a week. I happen to stop at the deli today too. They'll be upset that I said that, but I just want to be clear that I think we need to, because I like the mac and cheese there. But let's all come together and support our local businesses, especially this summer. There are many businesses that are supporting huge anniversaries, right? 40 in this room, over 100 with Bunchers, others that are brand new and are even just celebrating a year or two. But we need to keep activating our local residents, new and old, those who have grown up here, like myself, and those who are also new to the community. We need to support our businesses. If our residents don't support, if we don't realize what's in our literal backyard, down the street, or down the block. You never know what could happen next. And we're really lucky, right? We're really lucky to have a community in downtown and Upper Millburn Avenue and Morris Avenue and Wyoming and Chatham Road that not every community has. So just wanted to say that. And just very briefly on 4th of July, Friday, 4th of July, next Friday, we have big celebration going on, beginning at Taylor Park with the flag raising and on our Patriot Award presentation to Dorothy Kelly, longtime volunteer, as well as a morning program for families. Encourage everybody to grab breakfast, grab lunch, and enjoy 4th of July in downtown, Upper Millburn Avenue, Wyoming, Morris, Chatham Road. Then come back to Millburn High for fireworks starting at 9:30. Just want to thank all of our sponsors, many of whom are local businesses, for their support of our all volunteer and all sponsor supported 4th of July celebration.
Right, and the flag raising's at 10 a.m. in Taylor Park.
9
It is-
a.m.
It is at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Okay, good.
All right, thank you, and have a great summer.
Thank you, Jamie.
Hi, Vicky Powell again, business owner. I want to thank you, Jamie. Thank you so much for eloquently speaking from the heart about supporting the business of the town. I really appreciate you advocating for us because I know we've had this discussion and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you. Second, I wasn't going to speak. I just had a question because you were talking about the Hilton and how you've been interacting with them. In the past, previous we used to have, a rapport with them, and they used to bring people that stay at the hotel. They would take their car and they bring it downtown so they go to the restaurants and everything. Do we still have that companionship with them? Because at one point they just were sending people everywhere to Summit, and they're a Short Hills business. They should be sending the business down to our way. So are we have that rapport with them anymore? The concierge? Do they advocate and say, hey, you can take the car instead of going to the mall, we can take you down to the downtown, we can take it to Upper Millburn Avenue, if you wanna go to Morris Turnpike, do we still have that? The concierge used to recommend, we used to have, well, we don't have that anymore, but we used to have flyers, the books with what's the businesses in town. So are we having that, the paper mill's talking about getting together, this is our hotel in our town. It should be focusing on the businesses in town, let's work together. So that was it. Thank you. Have a nice summer, everyone.
Do you want me to answer that real quick?
Yes, thank you.
So Vicky, great point. Short Hills Hilton was on the board of the chamber with me for a while. Their general manager left about a year ago, and I don't think they replaced him yet. But I think I wanna go in that direction. We certainly, we do swag bags in so many other places. Maybe it's a nice welcome bag for a new guest, right? Doesn't have to necessarily be so robust as what we give residents, but just a little reminder that, Short Hills Hilton is actually quite far from the downtown. And so a good reminder to people that we do have a commercial business district,
Well,
so.
you can do a little flyer.
Yeah,
With
flyer,
the
little
names of restaurants.
gift bag, something like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'd be happy to look into that. I think that's a great idea.
Right, in the cars, explore Millburn, Short Hills, put it right where the concierge is, right in the front there.
And a QR code back to the website, maybe.
And trust me, we do a lot with them from the township as well, and the paper mill, so, they should be sending people here before they send them over to Summit. I know Elizabeth Fagan, the mayor, won't like to hear that, but that's really
It's our
our
hotel.
backyard.
It should be here.
Is there anybody else that has a public comment that'd like to speak? Okay. We're resolution 25-005, attachment 8 in the packet. Mr. Grillo, would you like to read?
Yes, we should have a fairly short executive session this evening. Before I read this, just a question for Mr. Slattery. Instead of having to move to another room, if the public were to leave, could we just continue the meeting here?
We can.
Okay. It is kind of.
It's helpful to tell them there won't be any additional
Yes.
formal action taken following the executive session, so you won't be missing anything.
So resolution 25-005, whereas the Open Public Meetings Act provides for the exclusion of the public during the discussion of certain matters, and whereas prior to the exclusion of the public, it is required that the Board of Trustees adopt a resolution stating the general nature and subject to be discussed, and stating as precisely as possible the time when the minutes of the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public. And whereas this body is about to consider a matter which falls within the purview of the Open Public Meetings Act and can properly exclude the public from such discussions, now therefore be it resolved that the Millburn-Short Hills Business Organization Incorporated Board of Trustees shall enter into closed session to discuss the following: SID Review Committee and associated litigation matters, and organizational bank account. It is further resolved, the minutes of said discussion shall be made public as soon as the matter under discussion is no longer of a confidential nature. We just need a motion to go into closed.
May I have a motion to move into closed session?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, voice vote?
Voice vote is fine.
Yeah. Aye. Okay. We will now enter into closed session.
Now,
Thank you.
if
You don't ever be accused of having conflicts of interest.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Any comments before we make a motion to adjourn? All right.
may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Motion.